So, but here's the thing. So I said a moment ago, we need a Lutheran version of this. And I want to just recant that as hard as I possibly can, because this is our problem as Lutherans. We can't read a book with some mistakes in it and be like, yep, I reject that part. But we just can't do it. And what are we, stupid? Are we completely, and maybe we are. Maybe we're so biblically illiterate. Maybe we've spent so much time not reading the Bible and praying and instead doing fun things as Americans that we cannot possibly read through an Arminian book and actually get the psychology out of it without also absorbing the theology. Maybe we're that bad. But that seems to be a condemnation of the Lutheran mindset more than it is an affirmation of us being the Christians who are boldly able to trust in what the Bible has said and discern foolishness from wisdom. And don't get me wrong, if you read the book and it's 95% foolishness, what are you doing? You're just wasting your time. But if you're going to read the book and there's like 75% good, and then there's like, yep, he's definitely a heretic. The guy's a Mormon, in fact, blah, blah, blah. But this idea that you laity too, like you can only read what's perfectly been created. And then we go and we try to do that. And it's,
well, I think
it ends up being flat. It ends up being without spirit at all. And then even many times just as unbiblical by the end of the day. And so I don't think we need a Lutheran version of this. We need some good Lutheran scientists and doctors and politicians and psychologists, right? I don't know. Maybe they're out there, but it seems to me that we're not out pioneering how to be Lutheran Christians in our fields. Instead, we seem to fall back into, I don't know, some sort of gladness to be under the society of others. We don't have Lutheran society. We don't have Lutheran culture. And maybe we can't. I don't know. It just used to be German at a certain point. One of the things Dr. Kuhn's Brief History of Power, it's a podcast you should find. He and I talk every week. He has said, he's like, what's the deal with all the Lutheran engineers? Like, why do we have, not that it's bad to be an engineer, but if you just kind of notice, like there's an overabundance of engineers in the Lutheran Church. And the implication here is that we
like it straight.
We're afraid to engage the battle. And we think we can stop the battle by building the right kind of walls. We think we can ingrain our theology so perfectly that Babel never takes it away from the next generation. And this is the problem. The next generation has to get it from the Bible. They're not going to get it from Pieper. Pieper's great. But if we think that we're going to so dogmatize it that now we've got the theory, right? That's the engineering mindset. I've got the theory, but the theory doesn't do you any good in the battle. And that's what we're watching right now as Lutherans, is that our theory is like useless on the battlefield. We go out there and we're just getting destroyed. And why? I'm just going to go out on a limb. It's a lack of biblical knowledge. Lack of biblical knowledge. I mean, who's the son of Asa? Right there. I mean, and well, maybe you've heard of him, but do you know? And why was Asa good and why was Asa bad? Right. Lack of biblical knowledge. I think that the lore of the scriptures has so much Lutheranism in it, and the Lutheran categories that we have are super valuable for reading the Bible with. But what we've done again is we've hooked up our horse at the back of the cart. The cart's the Lutheran doctrine. The horse has the scriptures. And we have the horse trying to push. Actually, we have the cart trying to pull the horse, right? And it's just falling apart around us. It's falling apart around us. And part of that then is being able to trust your horse to drive through some mush, right? So again, I get it. You get so frustrated by the false teacher. I'm tired of listening to this guy talk. I totally get that. There's some value in being able to spot the heretic and not let the heretic dissuade you and just continue to be like, yep, there's the lie, there's the lie, there's a lie, and now I'm going to move on. And so that's where the challenge here is. And I hope you come back and that there's something from that chapter you're like, you know what, this was kind of good.
Well,
but I'm not going to expect it. I'm not going to, and I'm asking you, don't expect it.
Part of the reason that I do not appreciate diving more deeply into books when I start to smell the
rat,
the murky water.
Yeah.
I'm like, I just don't have a ton of time to read. And so I don't want to be confused.
Yeah, I got you. That's good. That's good too.
Yeah.
That's good too. So that take everything I said, not out of its context. and realize that different people are in different places. There are books you want to put down too. But what we're doing here is we're pressing on something about our civilization, and particularly our culture as a sub-civilization, Lutheran Church people who are frustrated by the current zeitgeist hypnosis of a bunch of stuff. And I'm trying to emphasize, have some confidence in yourself that as you're in the scriptures, you're going to find more of the Holy Spirit, and you're going to be able to discern. And this is not just in the scriptures by yourself in a corner, in a faithful church where you're being taught, where you're communing together according to Christ's institution, where the historic liturgy is there to keep you on track with each other and to build up a similarity, a fellowship with each other in the way that you worship. Don't be afraid to read a book by a non-Lutheran, find some garbage in it, and skip it, but then pull out of it and try to put it in your own terms, like I did with those two comments. Like, okay, so what they said was problematic, but is there a way in which we could say it that's right, right? Before we lose the ability to say anything, which is kind of what's, again, happened to us. So we can't talk about anything except soteriology, and we got to do that in German terms.
Well, and then sometimes I will be reading something or listening to something, and you'll walk in and be like, what did they just say? And I'm going, oh, I heard it through our Lutheran doctrine. I don't know. What did they just say?
Now, listening and reading are two different things. I do not recommend listening to Christian podcasts by false teachers at all. That's slippery as grease. Reading, again, you can stop it. You can take notes. You're engaging on this entirely different level. You're sharpening your sword a little bit. And if you're not going to sharpen your sword on the scriptures first, then no, don't even. And if you have no foundation, if you do not know the 10 Commandments, like you actually can't list them, that's priority number one right now.